Hello all, Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive, and welcome to Divinely Decked, Tarot and Oracle Reviews done Stacy style. And today is Blind Deck Date Day. What happens when you take a vintage Japanese tarot deck and an Archangel deck and put them on a blind date together? That's what we are going to find out about today. So without further ado, let's get to it. All right, so today we are going to be introducing this beautiful vintage Japanese tarot deck. And this is from the 80s. Let me just, make sure that we put that guide away. And I apologize for all of the cat and dog fur that you will be seeing. But maybe that's part of this deck's charm, is that they have cats and dogs. And that this Archangel Fire Oracle from Alexandra Wenman is going to maybe be a cat and dog lover. So let's just see what happens when these two decks collide. And admittedly, I have had this deck for a really long time, and I have very little, I don't work with it very often at all. So we'll just kind of see what happens. So first impressions, it's a blind date, and they're seeing each other for the first time. And clearly they're very different. But I do notice that the little bit of color that is in this vintage Japanese tarot is matching with the colors, the more modern approach in the colors in this deck. The design is a little bit different, but it's made of a bunch of spherical energy, and we have a big sphere in the center. I'm noticing that there are a lot of these beautiful little lines that make up the flower petals of this deck, and how all of these petals join to make a sphere, a circle, or to make a star. We have a star in the center here. We have a lot of, I want to say, like rays of the sun or rays of a star within a star. There are a lot of symbols in this particular oracle deck on the back. This is not reversible necessarily because of the colors. But if you weren't paying too much attention, it probably wouldn't matter that much. So on first blush, even though they are very different, I feel that there's enough similarity here that the two of them are like, oh, okay, I kind of like what I see, you know? So let's go a little further here and have them start having a little conversation. Ooh, this is very interesting. Okay, so here we have the 10 of Wands. And this deck primarily is offered in blacks and whites with a little pop of color, or in this case, a bit of the orangey red. And that's primarily what you're going to see in this deck. It's interesting to me that the very first card that comes out, color-wise, is synergistic. And so this is Sokwed Hozi. I'm not really sure exactly what this means, but intuitively, as I'm looking at this, it looks a little bit like a magician. So a magician angel that is coming up and coming through could absolutely be like Raziel. And that 10 of Wands, rewards and the burdens that go with it. So looking at it from a physical perspective, I love that the colors are blending even when the styles are very different. There's more of a, I won't say it's subdued tones, but it is more neutralized tones. And this has a lot more flair, but the two of them match in this instance. So that feels kind of cool. Also, I like that we have a little bit of the field that is, sort of woven together. And here it's not the field, but it's the cityscape, the circus, the festival, the carnival, and all of the lights are woven through. And I think that's really kind of cool. All right, let's do another take. Salathiel, a younger monk-like archangelic energy. I love that there's a heart coming out of their tabernacle here, the sage. And here we have the 3 of Coins. So the 3 of Coins is that card of detail. And I feel like, not only is there detail in learning the basics of things, there's also sort of a collaboration. And I like that we have almost like images of fish that are coming through, also floral energies that are coming through. Here we have flags in the background that are creating some of that, I want to say, that flow that is in the energy. So again, even though the colors aren't necessarily on the nose right in front of you, they're not that opposite either. And we're getting another sort of an orange bordered imagery. These are not bordered, but the border is complementing the orange and the reds that show up in this deck. Also, I really like the smoke aspect of things because I feel like that also has a bit of that flow, that feel. And up here, when we're looking at these flowers and these petals, it's got a little bit of that sort of feathery energy to it. So I feel like there's a blend here. Let's take a look at another one. The Six of Cups and Christiel. Oh, so here we have, it's the Christ, the Christed one, the Christed angel. His heart is in the center of his chest here, being shown out into the world, the aura of the heart, and it's in a big round circle. And here we have the red sun coming up, and it's got an image within the sun itself. This has an image within the heart itself and within the circle, the globe, the sphere that it is creating. I really like that. And again, the colors and the border colors are complementary. Let's do a couple more here. First impressions. So again, that border is matching. Here we have Tahariel, more of that indigenous Native American background here, holding a baby. I think this is really a beautiful image. We have some sacred geometry or symbolism. We've got a little bit of the rainbow colors going on here. We've got a hawk and a butterfly represented. Here it's the Emperor card, and the Emperor is not depicted through a person. Instead, it is depicted through a house on the mountain or in the mountains. So that idea of being solid, safe, secure. I've been here for a really long time, and I can lay foundation and provide foundation for new birth, for shift and change, for new wisdom and new focus coming into the mix. Let's do one more. Here we have the High Priestess and Galgaliel. I apologize for my mispronunciation. So this is one where I feel like it's not as in sync color wise, but we still have similarities in the colors themselves. And this definitely feels like the Chariot in the tarot, that Chariot card, a little bit of victory going on. The High Priestess is a more of a softer tone, a softer energy, going to take a bit of a different approach. But interesting how with the Chariot energy, I often talk about the Chariot being the cab ride, the Uber or the Lyft, taking you from island A to island B. It often takes you on that suspension bridge, or it is the suspension bridge. And I find it fascinating that the High Priestess in this deck is being represented by a bridge. It is the bridge as above, so below. And there is a bridge in this picture. So I think that's really interesting that now we are going beyond the physical components and we're now starting to step into, I want to say, more of the in-depth. So this is a great segue into starting up our reading. And let's pull our first card prompts here. The Spark. What unique chemistry emerges when these two card decks' voices blend? And I'm really excited about this. I literally just pulled these two decks off the shelf. I did not give it a whole lot of thought at all in terms of compatibility. Oh, look at this. Okay, so when we're talking about a spark, here we've got the Moon card. And this particular Moon card is all the black and white and gray. And here we have Raduariel, I apologize. First of all, I feel like the colors are very complementary. It's not a stark black and white. It's like a creamy sort of color in the background, and it's a great contrast here. I should say complement, not contrast. It's a great complement here with this particular card. This is indoor. This is outdoor. I'm feeling that the unique chemistry here is that this card deck is always going to follow this one's lead. This one I feel is going to be a little more subtle in its approach. It's a card deck that wants to grow on you. The messages want to not sneak up on you, but it's like savoring a fine wine. You know, you don't really understand the flavor of it or the taste of it until you're about a third of the way through the glass, right? Like it takes a little time for that messaging and that guidance to wash over you. And I feel like this Archangel energy is going to complement that. It's going to take time to allow that to unfold. In this case here, I feel like it's going to be taking notes. It's going to be writing out, the guidance, being the scribe, so that when this card is ready, when it's fully decanted and all of the flavors are bursting forth, this card deck now can speak to it, can remind it of what it said or what it's sharing, enhances everything that it's about. Ooh, I love this. And I love these little cherubs because I feel like that's also an indicator that there is a strong chemistry here. Maybe even a love at first sight, I want to say. There are differences, but those differences are desirable. That feels so good. Oh my goodness. Okay. Now let's explore the clash. Where might their personalities challenge each other or cause tension? Dun, dun, dun. Eight of Swords. So here we have another sort of black and white and gray image. I assure you, not all of them are that way. Most of the cards do have a pop of color in them. So that's significant in itself. What brings them together, that the black and white of this deck, may also be something that can be a bit of a rub. The Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords is a card of entrapment. Maybe this card deck can get too much in its own way, its own head, its own space. It is not an on the nose deck. It is definitely much more intuitive and artistic in its nature, and so sometimes it might take a little too long to get that message across, or maybe just doesn't know how to convey what it feels. And here we have Jophiel. Jophiel, I know this, she's the archangel of beauty and perspective. And I feel like when we're looking at these two figures here, they're looking in opposite directions. So Jophiel, her arms are spread wide open. She's looking at the sun. This figure is looking down. This figure is kind of looking down on things, definitely a little more stuck in its head, definitely a little more stuck in the reality, that 3D aspect of life and the world. And I feel like where the rub is Jophiel's going to say, hey, let's look at it from a different perspective. Let's see it in the light. And this deck is going to say, no, I actually think it's important to see it in the dark, or to see it, from that worldly place. And Jophiel says, no, as above, so below. And this says, as below, so above. So I feel that they do have differing opinions in some ways in terms of their approach. So let's see what happens now. What are the hidden layers? What unexpected truth does one deck bring out in the other? Ooh, beautiful. So the Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords, I feel like this deck is going to bring out a little bit of anxiety in the Archangel Oracle deck a little bit, simply because it tends to focus on the headiness of it all. Yes, it is creative and artistic, but it's also cerebral in its approach. And I feel like the Oracle deck itself is not really cerebral at all. The Oracle deck is very experiential, wants to get out into the world. And so I feel like these hidden layers, this deck needs, I want to say, a little bit of this to come through. Let's check this out. So we've got all of these peacocks. So yeah, this Oracle deck really is about preening its feathers, strutting its stuff, being seen, being external. This is very much a more internal process. So this deck is going to encourage the tarot deck to come out into the light a little bit more, to allow itself to be seen and understood in some different ways, and to allow some of the color to influence its message. And this deck, I feel, is going to bring about a balance to that. Hey, world, look at me. You know, here's the message, and it's going to be on the nose, and I'm going to be so big and bold with it that, you know, whether you want the message or not, I'm going to deliver it. This one says, no, let's honor somebody's privacy. You know, there's a lot going on the inside that we don't always know. You know, there's a lot going on under the hood. So hidden layers, I feel like the truths that they're bringing out in one another is really where each of them can balance each other out. And I feel that that balance is beautiful. This is a golden egg is what I keep seeing. The golden egg, I feel, is blended with both. It's there for both to access, but this one needs this one in order to have access to it. So they need each other in those ways. Very cool. And what is the future date potential? If these two decks keep working with one another, what kind of guidance are they going to co-create? This is going to be really interesting to see these two come together. Oh, I love it. 8 of Wands and Mirabiel. So I definitely feel that there's a potential future dates. I feel that the 8 of Wands, that passion, that swift release, that with the combination here, this deck is definitely going to open up more. And this deck with Mirabiel here, I feel almost this wintry energy. So the ability to not be so bold and in your face with the color, to be a little more winterized, to be thoughtful, to apply the wisdom, to share that wisdom and then apply it. And this deck is going to add a little fire to that. So again, feeling a lot of that balanced energy that's coming up. And I definitely feel like the guidance that they're going to create working together is just going to be chef's kiss. Mwah. A match made in heaven, where they're both complementing each other enough, but there's still enough of mystery between the two of them for the reader to be able to understand the value in leaning into each image, in leaning into each combination and learning, sussing out all of the, I want to say, the juicy goodness that each combination has to offer. So lasting impressions here. I definitely feel that this deck combination is going to work for me. I'm really surprised because I grabbed them both, like I said, just very much on a whim without very much thought to, you know, the styles and the paper style and, you know, all the things and the stuff. And I am really impressed by what is coming up here and coming through. So I'm really excited about this combination. And I definitely feel like not only have they, you know, made it through the first drink, but I feel like they've made it through dinner as well. And there's definitely going to be a second date. And I am super pumped about that. All right, guys. So that is our blind deck date for this segment of Divinely Decked. And until we see each other for another segment of Black Feather Couture Divining a VIP Life, I'm sending you guys so much love, so much support. We'll see you on the flip side and transform well. That's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. It was great to connect with you guys. Please like, subscribe, and comment for more content like this. And feel free to follow me on Blue Sky for even more content every single day. Can't wait to see you guys next week for another installment of Black Feather Couture Divining the VIP Life.